Welcome back to See the Story. Still with us right here, and we're still talking about empowering divorcees, widow and widower, and single parents in society, which is a very, very important job. So we're still here with Tiara. Hi.
Hi.
So we've talked about how, single parents, divorcees, a widower, widows and widowers, they have a certain stigma, right? But when they have children, how do these stigmas or how society treats these particular groups of the population affect their children?
It can affect like in two ways.
Mm-hmm.
If the mom already accepts and knows how to manage the label that was embedded to her, then the children will grow up very confident. So it doesn't really affect. It's like, oh, okay, my mom is a widow, so what?
Yeah, yeah.
But if the mother, like I said before, cannot like educate the children as well to be confident.
Because she doesn't have the confidence in herself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The children, usually they will grow being very mentally not good.
So, what are the implications on the children? Because I understand the big quote here is always a happy parent, no matter if it's one parent or two parent, makes happy children, right? So, according to your experience, what kind of cases has happened when the parent or the single parent is not yet at a mental state where this person, cannot deal with the label yet or hasn't accepted? I don't want to say, I don't believe in labels in that sense. You don't want to, how do you say, don't feel trapped, as you say, in what society believes is labels to be.
Okay, so we're just taking for the case the worst case, the worst case scenario, because not every divorcee, every parent with a divorce case is not happy, don't have a happy children.
Yeah.
So there was once a kid who get bullied in the school because his friend told him that his mother is, sorry to say, sell herself.
Okay.
And that kid wants to, he wants to kill himself. And that was reported to me.
Yeah.
So that's the effect of that label.
To that extent.
To that extent, yeah. That's the worst case ever.
But how does a single parent have to deal with that? Because that's an external issue, right? If the single parent were in a healthy condition, how would this parent help the child deal with that kind of external bullying? Because it doesn't matter, because society may always have these labels and stigmas, right?
Yeah.
But how does a parent educate the children also not to be affected by that?
Okay. If the parent in this case is the mom, cannot handle by herself, she needs to report it to the school. If the school cannot help as well, she needs to get help from the community. Maybe like in Safe Janda, we can send counselor or children's psychologist. That's one of the solution.
Okay, so I have a question. Because as you were saying, one case is different from another.
Exactly.
So what is the majority, what is the most reason that you've heard of them to come to your community? Why did they come to you instead of, let's say, other community?
Oh, I don't know, because we're like, if you look to our IG, it's like very colorful. It's like not so like serious.
Serious,
but it's
scary.
Like, it's like pink and black and white. It's like welcome. It's like actually people used to say like, this is not a community that concerned on women's issue. It looks like an event organizer or something. But that what makes people come to us freely. They know that they won't be judged. They know they can talk without getting blamed. And at that point, they come to us with a very burdened heart that they need to release.
So they just want to tell stories.
Yes, they want people who can listen to their stories.
Without judgment. I think that's the most important thing.
That's simple. People just need to be heard without any label, without being judged. And also, this needs to be heard by our society because...
You know, the one thing that really eases my mind is that communities like yours exist because, unfortunately, our society is not yet always capable of listening without judgment. Yeah, and especially in sensitive cases like this, there's usually a lot of blame still in place and a lot of, a lot of people siding one side or another and just the ability of being heard neutrally, right?
So, in that case, when people needs to be heard and also people needs other people to tell their stories, where can they go? Do you have any upcoming community events or programs?
We have a lot.
Actually, a lot. Okay, let's go one by one.
Actually, we by this 27 October. So right now, I love to run, right? Like a hobby run, and then I asked my one of my members that like, come join me. It's a horror run. It's like in the middle of the night.
Oh, so it's a Halloween theme.
Yeah, it's a Halloween theme. And then why not we make a club? Or like a running, walking, dancing club. So it's like, because members in Safe Gender, they like to listen to the music and like party and stuff. Like, not like party goers, but it's like more, oh come on, let's do something together. Like,
to have fun.
Yeah, to have fun.
You guys like to have fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean always like we need to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But actually, like if we like post like, oh, we're having fun here, taking photo, maybe we chill or we're in Kemang.
Yes.
Right? Actually, for the other member who like you told me like in like still in the middle class or middle state of financial, it motivates them to do more. So it's like, and they just tell in the group, one day I want to join you guys. I want to go to Jakarta and have fun with you. Wait for me. So I need to sell my food first.
Yeah. So up the business game. No, it's like also inspiring and motivating.
Yeah.
It's most important.
In a fun way, of course.
In a fun way. All right, so Tiara, this is actually our tradition to wrap up the interview with games. And now we will invite our colleague Yani, who will lead the game. So, Yani, come in.
Hello Tiara, so nice to meet you. So good to have you here. All right, like Hans mentioned, we always love to play games here. So it's really easy. I will lead the game for today. So the big screen will show you statements about widows. And then Kai and Hans will guess, is it a myth or is it a fact? Oh, and then Tiara will give the answer and give a little bit of explanation. So are you guys ready?
Oh,
I am
ready.
Alrighty then.
Oh, he always is.
So we're gonna start with the first one. Let's see. Myth or fact? Widows never show their emotions in public.
Ooh.
Ah,
Oh, it's
A myth and a myth. All right, Tiara. Is it a myth or is it a fact?
based on your experience with your community.
It depends. It can be a myth and a fact. Because why? Widows are built, widows and divorcees, especially who have domestic violence experience,
Yep.
they tend to shield themselves to be powerful. So they don't want to show their emotion. But actually, the fact is, they cry in silence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so
They don't show their
fact.
emotionally because maybe like for them,
Yep.
showing emotion is sort of kind of like giving their softer side. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay,
a
signs
sign
of
of weakness.
weakness.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so it could be fact, it could be myth.
Yeah, it could be myth.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Here we go. Myth or fact? Widows are under a curse or they bring misfortune? Oh, come on. I think we know this. Is it?
Totally a myth. Totally a myth.
Don't believe what you see.
What do you think?
So okay, for the under a curse, actually it's a myth. But for the bring misfortune, actually it's the fact that happens in the society, especially in their families, that they think that the janda or the widowers,
Or
those kind
divorcee.
of it's
Will bring-
bringing misfortune to the family.
What?
Okay.
So that's why they don't accept them back. a lot.
Exactly.
Right. Oh.
So
Sad.
in the situation of the family, it should be the first resort for
Yeah.
these people to actually run to. They're failing these people.
Yeah.
It
They're
reminds me-
failing
it
the
re-
widows and
It reminds me of
divorcee.
this viral video that I recently saw on Instagram about a father who actually welcomed his daughter post leaving and divorcing her husband with open arms with a Bollywood party.
Oh, wow.
Because in the Indian society, it is frowned upon, right?
Yeah, it is frowned
for
upon.
women
Yeah.
to leave their husbands, and they will be treated as such. And thus, this amazing father decided to do it otherwise because he believes that if he don't want him, I want my daughter back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, in India, they have a special region to throw the widow or the divorcee.
So they put
especially
them in all
divorcee.
in the
Really?
same area. Oh, wow.
And they are dressed white.
I see.
Oh wow.
They are being
It is
exiled. Yeah.
tough.
Definitely not supporting them. But what we can learn is that family should be your support system.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
support system.
All right, we still have one more. Let's go. This is the next one. Myth or fact? Widows rely financially on their deceased spouse's family. Myth and myth. Ooh, the answer is
Unfortunately, 60% like they're still hoping on their deceased spouse family.
yeah.
Yeah, and their deceased spouse family knows that they are like depending on that. But 40%, thanks to the universe, most of them can go out from that situation.
So why is it actually that they still depend on the deceased husband's family? Is that still illegal? Is there a legal standpoint that actually, if something happens, that the family would be involved in?
Oh, because at the first they believe that it's their right, especially if they have kids, right?
Right.
They believe that if the spouse died, supposedly the what they call it
The
the
kid
responsibility goes to the husband's
family.
Family, yeah.
But that doesn't happen. Usually doesn't happen. Maybe it only happen like 10% or something.
Yeah.
No, but it's also usually, like, I don't know, in dramas, but no, but in real life, if you think about it, if you rely on somebody else, they have the power to take your child away, right?
Exactly.
And I think it as if I have, if God forbid,
Knock on wood.
knock on
Yes.
wood, my
God
husband
forbid.
deceased, and I rely on my husband's family. I don't want to give my child away to my husband's family because that gives them the right to. If I have to pay for this child, why are you taking care of the child?
Yeah. Ideally, it's like that.
Yeah.
But in the real life, it happens. They can control without taking physically the children.
Yeah.
They can like control their education.
Yeah.
And that makes them quote unquote happy. It's like controlling.
More powerful
Okay,
too.
so the reason behind that, is it economic?
Which
I mean,
part?
financially, because
Oh,
the
from
widows,
yeah.
the widows could not really, support or being independent financially.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always. Some part is like it's my right. It's my children's right.
Oh.
Oh.
So that's a whole.
Is that
ballgame.
that's a culture within our culture, right?
The culture.
So how do you deal with? I'm sorry, but I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Because this
Go
is
ahead.
part of empowering the mind, right? This
Yeah.
is part of empowering the mind of somebody who's experienced this loss, and has to realize that because most of the time it won't happen, and there's no legal standpoint that it has to happen. How do you help people with this mindset to transition to not rely on their deceased spouse's family?
Okay. What we used to tell them is that don't live in the past. Wake up,
Yeah.
and then face the fact that you're now alone and your children are depending on you.
Yeah.
So for whatever you do, whatever you take the choices, all the consequences will go into your children. Everything, every step.
So you got to think about the
wise.
children and move on.
Yes, child first. Deep conversations for Tuesday.
It is very hard to deal with our society these days, or even
Yeah.
from a very long time ago.
I mean, I can absolutely understand that, and then kudos to what you do, and I hope all the success to the gender community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Where
much.
can we
Thank
find you
you.
on your socials?
Yes.
Okay. We can find you. You can find us in Instagram at @safe_janda.
Okay, only just SAVE_Janda.
Yes.
JANDA.
And you can Google us as well.
Yes.
You can Google them as well.
Mutiara, thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing the story, all the
Thank you so much
success.
for having me.
And hopefully it goes, changing the minds and inspiring minds one mind at a time.
Yes.
See, the stories will continue after the break. Stay tuned with us with our new show and see you today.